Hey, we are back. Sorry about that. Not sure what happened. Looked like I was invisible there for a minute. But anyway, happy Monday. This is Stu Smith going live and taking questions. But first, before we do, as you guys start coming on board, I just wanted to chat about something that I would recommend doing. If you are, say, 16 years old, want to serve, and you're just wondering what you should do that is a good use of your time, use of your preparation, there are some things that I would recommend. First of all, I would recommend learning to be a lifeguard. Very handy. CPR changes every 5 years, it seems like, but highly recommend becoming a lifeguard. I actually went through the lifeguard course recertification this weekend, and I always learn something new, a better way to do something, more efficient way to do something that will hopefully one day, if I'm ever in that situation, be an asset to the person needing help. Another one is scuba diving, especially if you're doing some form of special ops program. I do recommend taking a scuba diving course. It will just add to your level of water comfort, and it is a useful tool. I was scuba diving probably since I was 13. I knew I wanted to do something underwater at that young age, always fascinated with it. And lo and behold, still scuba dive. So, um, yeah. So those are the two big ones. The other ones would be if you are a little bit older and you wanted to advance those medical skills a little more, you could become an EMT. I really think that is one of those more useful activities that you can do as a young person who is not yet in the military, going into the military and actually being useful from the start. Some guys even get their paramedic and then go into the military, which is even better. Or become a firefighter before they join the military. Those are also great skills. So there's so many things you can do. I don't recommend wasting a lot of time doing other things that have a potential of hurting you. Because I can't tell you how many times people, um, go and do a big gut check event and then wind up needing surgery because they blew out a knee or they blew out their hip, or they get, at best, if they're lucky, they got shin splints or some kind of knee tendonitis, but they can't run for about 6 weeks. So, sometimes you have to analyze the activity and say, is this worth it? And do I have enough time to recover if I do get injured before I ship out? Because I've seen guys, countless guys, get injured 6 months or less before they ship out. And then that really screwed up their ability to, one, go into the military as originally planned. Their timeline gets thrown off. Or two, they get disqualified for something because they now need surgery and you need a waiver, or they completely get disqualified because it's a non-waiverable injury. Surgery won't fix it. Or worse, even people have died in doing some of these crazy events, whether that is as as little as like riding a bike in a triathlon and getting hit by a car, or which happens, and or doing breath holds on your own in a pool. That happens. You can read about it. I've probably seen 10 happen. Now, not with me personally, but across the nation. You can read about them on Google. You can definitely find spec ops candidates that are dying before they even show up to spec ops training. So that has kind of taken a long turn there, but there are so many useful things that you can do to prepare. Not only your fitness, obviously you got to do that, but there are some other more tactical skills that you can apply later. I would also recommend some orienteering, map and compass training. Those are very valuable as well. So, all right. So that's my intro. I usually try to give about 5 minutes before these just to kind of get people to congregate. I hope you guys are having a good Monday. We just crushed our week of, this is our third cycle in our weightlifting week, which is our last cycle. We'll take this up to like 13 weeks. And it is all, it's heavy lifting, right? And see what you can do. So today, even my old butt was able to hit, I think I got 225 for 10 on the bench. It was upper body. Tomorrow will be a leg day where we'll do some deadlifts, go a little bit heavier with deadlifts. So felt pretty good about that. Did my body weight 15 times, 205. So I'm in the zone where I want to be. And 20 weight vest pull-ups. That was a good one. I was shocked at that one personally. But I've been working on them. But yeah, so all about getting stronger on this cycle. And it takes me back to my old powerlifting days, which I've used to thoroughly enjoy. But these are different lift cycles. Like if you decide to do this winter lift cycle, it is not your typical lift cycle. My typical lift cycles back in the 80s when I was a power lifter, you would maybe do 25 reps of a lift if you're doing a 5 sets of 5 and probably 30 minutes of rest total in between sets. And you lifted heavy, but you took a lot of rest. And we don't do a lot of resting. We tend to rest with other activities like other muscle groups or even cardio, just to keep our calisthenics and cardio up while we try to put on some mass or strength. Some guys need to put on mass. I do not. I'm trying to lose it, but hitting 205 right now, I'm pretty happy. Should get below 200 here in the spring. All right, so let's take some questions. Alex, good to see you again. Good morning, Stu. Will you lose more body fat running 1 mile hit or 3 miles slow but steady pace? I don't know. It's, I was listening to the Huberman Lab podcast, and they had a guy on there discussing fat burning and fat loss, two different things. And I never really thought about it that way, but it makes a lot of sense. You may use your fuel. If you're going hit, you're going to use probably a glycogen fuel versus you might use more of a, fat burning fuel at a slower pace, depending on your pace and depending on what you've eaten. Your body naturally wants to burn its sugar first, and then it tends to go into a fat burning phase, just depending on where you're going. But here's the deal. It really comes down to, at the end of the day, the calories that you burn during that workout and the calories that you're bringing back in at the end of the day on how you burn fat. At the end of the day, if you've created that caloric deficit, you will burn fat. If you did not, you will either gain weight or you will maintain your weight. So check out the Huberman Labs. There's some really good Huberman Lab podcasts. He brings on these scientists, and they really get deep into it to a level where you're like, holy crap, that makes sense. So highly recommend it. What are your thoughts on lifting belt for squats and deadlifts? I'll be honest with you. I don't go heavy enough to need a belt. I usually play around with 1.5, maybe 2.0 my body weight. So when I go 2.0 body weight, I'll put on a belt. But usually between 1 and 1.5 my body weight, I don't even bother. So that would be, for me, a 200-pound guy, somewhere between 200 and 300 pounds, not using a belt. Anything over 300, I tend to use a belt. but that's just me. And I don't go heavier than 300 very often. Should I do heavy squat and heavy deadlift on the same day, or should I do each on a separate leg day? It's up to you. Some people don't consider deadlift much of a leg day. They consider that more of a pulling day. So some people, and I have too, have put deadlifts in with pull-ups, and then did a separate leg day with just squats and lunges and things like that. But some days I have done deadlifts and squats on the same day. So it's up to you. And I personally think that you could probably spread it out through the week to where, if you're really focusing on your legs, you can do 3 leg days in a week. Um, if you wanted to. And this is lighter weight, more rep stuff. But if you're going really heavy, I would say probably go 1 squat day, 1 heavy deadlift day, and do them on separate days. That's my advice. But there's so many ways to do it. It really depends on your goals. What are your thoughts on skydiving before signing up for Spec Ops? Many people do. I'm not knocking it. I think it is an option, but it is different. One, static line, I guess you can find some people that teach static line. That's what you're going to learn first. Not really that complicated. It is literally a 3-day course that the Army crams into 3 weeks. So it's up to you. If you want to do a free fall before, I've known a lot of guys that did free fall on their own before. It's a little expensive. Depends on your capabilities and cash, to be honest with you. But it's not a bad thing to have. I don't think it's necessary. That's all I'm saying. None of the ideas are necessary. I just think some are better than others. I think skydiving is not necessarily better than an EMT course. Put it this way, if I was going to spend time and money on skydiving or an EMT course, I'd take an EMT course. So I haven't been able to run for about 2 weeks due to an upper respiratory infection. Yeah, man, I had one last week. I took it off, took it easy on running. Was running 30 miles a week before. What miles should I start at? I would probably see how you feel with 50% of that. Maybe do a week at 15, and then maybe your second week, if you didn't have any problems. Like I noticed, like when I tried to run last week, I would start coughing. So Monday, we actually ran like 6 miles, and I was gagging the whole time almost. Had to walk a little bit because it just didn't feel good. And so I didn't run Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Did very low level cardio. Like as long as my heart rate wasn't up too high, I wouldn't start coughing. So today I ran and did fine. Probably ran about 3 miles, and I didn't cough, but I noticed it was a little more labored than normal. So that's why I say probably drop it down 15 miles a week, because you will be working a little harder. So, give yourself a couple of weeks before you build back up to 30. So that's just my opinion on that one. What's your opinion on occlusion training or blood flow restriction workout for mass gain? Yeah, I've never done that. Some people have. I have not. Seems to be a fad back probably 5-6 years ago. It was a little more popular. I was never a fan of it. Not because I just didn't think it was useful. I didn't dislike it. I just never did it. So I really don't have any personal feedback on that. If I can only get in the pool Monday and Wednesday, can you please tell me the best way I can utilize the 500 warm up, 50-50, then fins, maybe? Yeah, if you can get in the pool Wednesday, my personal recommendation is do a 50-50, 500 warm up, 50-50 without fins. Then get a good 2,000 with fins. That's going to give you probably 3,000 to 3,500 yards, in that swim workout. But at least you're getting in your fin time in there too. So, so you're basically doubling up your Monday, Wednesday. So, yeah, that's what I would do. Might take you, might take you an hour to do all that. That's not too much. Give yourself an hour and a half if you want to do more. Maybe practice some drown proofing stuff too. One of those days. Let's see. How many miles per week would you start with terms of rucking? How heavy of a ruck? You know what? I just wrote a really good plan for a guy who's an older guy. Um, and he's going to go do a 50-hour ruck. Right now, this guy works out pretty hard. He probably runs 30 miles a week already. He swims 5 days a week. He lifts weights Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And he bikes Tuesday, Thursdays. So what I did is I created a little program for him to start off with 10-pound ruck and build up to 25 because he's just carrying the stuff he needs. So for you, if you're preparing for the military, I would say probably start off with 25 and then every probably 3 or 4 weeks add 5 pounds, right? And get yourself up to 40, 50 pounds in the course of, 3 or 4 months. But that's a slow progression. You could probably go a little faster than that. A lot of people tend to do okay with 25% of their body weight. So once again, I'm a 200-pound guy, 50-pound ruck, not too bad. So it depends on your athletic history too, though. You definitely want to be able to lift and handle that kind of load, because if you're just a skinny guy, 25% of your body weight could be a lot. So there's a lot of it depends in this, right? There's no general one answer for this because so much is really kind of dependent on your abilities. With this guy who's almost 60 years old and does all this stuff, former Navy guy, um, he's going to be doing an hour ruck on Tuesday and Thursday, basically just replacing his bike on those days. And he's going to do a progressive ruck on Saturdays. And those get longer and longer and build up to I think we go up to 6 or 7 hours in a 12-week cycle. So you can do it a lot of different ways. I wrote an article about running and rucking progression. In fact, I will put it in here for you. Rucking progression. It's one of my more popular articles. In fact, if you type in rucking progression, Stu Smith, like I am doing right now, boom, comes right up. So, yeah, there's a bunch of different ones you can pull up here, but I'm going to put this link in here for you, give you some things to read about the process, because once again, there's no real one answer. It just depends. A lot of times I only ruck on leg days. So that's usually like a Tuesday, maybe a Friday. And then sometimes if we are doing a race or something, we'll do like a Sunday run, swim, ruck combo. So we'll get up to 3 medium-sized rucks, about 4 miles each. But we're also running 30, 35 miles a week. So, we're kind of used to the impact. Better to do assisted pull-ups or lat pull-downs on the pull-up pyramid if you can't do all the reps proper. That's a good question. I've done it both ways. I found, if I had a pull-down machine, I would do that. And I enjoyed it, but it would only be like after I failed at the pull-up. So let's say I worked my way up to 7, no problem, and set 8, I could only get 5. So I owed 3 more reps. So I would get those reps on either a negative hanging from the pull up bar, a banded assist, or a pull down machine. That is where I would do it. So, but always try to start your reps with pull ups first and then back it down to the easier option. Let's see. Morning Stu, been adding more miles of running a week versus sprint sessions. Which one is going to help improve my PST score? Currently doing your PJ prep program and it's awesome. Thank you. Um, well, I will tell you this. The one you're talking about, Army or Air Force Special Warfare, great. It is a great program. It's one of my favorites. I enjoy that program. Enjoyed making it. Enjoyed testing it out on guys that are in the pipeline. It's been a lot of fun. I will say this: sprint sessions are okay. I wouldn't do a lot of them because you don't really need them. What you need to do is teach your body to run faster at a pace, not a sprint pace. Because there's a difference. When you run a 1.5 mile timed run, you're going to want to be at a 6 minute mile or faster. That's fine too. So 90-second quarter miles is your pace that's going to get you to that 85 to 90. That'll get you an 8:30 to 9 minute zone. That's kind of like the above average zone I try to get everybody to get to. But you could probably sprint a 70-second one, which there's some value in that, but it's not useful in you learning your new pace that you're trying to master. So my suggestion would be if you're adding more run miles, you can do one of 3 options. One, you can go with a sprint and do shorter, faster things and just teach the legs to move faster. Nothing wrong with that. 2, you could do the goal pace option where let's say you add 2 miles of 8 quarter-mile runs at 85 to 90 seconds each with a 10-second rest, 15-second rest, something like that. And the third one is you could do some mileage with some long, slow distance, aerobic base training. It's up to you. Whether or not you can handle that extra mileage is the big question. I tend not to do that third option. And if I need more cardio, I'll do it with biking or elliptical or more swimming or something like that versus the added impact of an additional long, slow 10-mile run, which just really, in my mind, just gets me good at running 10-minute miles, which if you're trying to pass a timed run at a 7-minute mile or you're trying to pass a timed run at a 6-minute mile, you're just getting good at running slow. Nothing wrong with building a base, but you don't have to do it with all long, slow distance. Congrats on 20 weighted vest pull-ups at 54. Yep, feeling pretty good. Have you run a marathon race? I ran one and I got it under 4 hours, which was my goal. And I swore between mile 20 and 25 that I would never do one again. And here's why. Not that I was dying. I was just so freaking bored running. I really was bored. I was like, man, I wish I could just ride a bike right now or go swimming. So I started doing triathlons after that. But I did learn something very useful when I ran that marathon with a goal of just trying to pass, just trying to finish. My mindset going into that was I was in a survival mode. And I would watch these guys that probably ran cross country, little skinny dudes, and I'm floating around 200. These guys are about $150 and lean and fast, and some of them look like they're from Kenya. And I realized that my mindset was completely different from theirs. They weren't even thinking about whether or not they were going to finish and try to finish under 4 hours with the average time. They were purely in compete mode, and they're trying to drop a minute off their fastest time or maybe even win the race, which I was nowhere in that mode. And that got me to thinking of that phrase that I've used for many years is train to compete, not just survive. And that was my mindset going into SEAL training was I I can't be in this survival mode. I can't go in and try to, get by with the slowest run that's passing, right? My goal had to be winning stuff. And so that really adjusted my training for that next year to and mindset to actually learn to compete. And that I really think that made all the difference in the world. So I'm not knocking marathons because I learned a valuable lesson in it, but I hate them because they're just boring. Maybe it's an ADD issue I have. I don't know. People tell me I have ADD. I've just never been diagnosed with it because I didn't want to go to a doctor and get ADD medication. Um, let's see. Hey, Stu, I was wondering what type of shoes you wear for your daily workouts because I've tried wearing the barefoot cross training ones. I'm not sure if I've been beneficial, causing calf pain. That will cause calf pain for sure. Um, let's see. So I have these, which are my zero drop zero shoes, XERO shoes. And I just got through running, however, in my On Cloud shoes. So I think they're a Swiss company, make On Cloud, or Swedish. I'm not sure. Swiss, maybe. Swiss. On Cloud. Check it out. They're really good. I am, however, switching up this next running cycle to using the ultras. So I'm going to try the ultras out on our longer run hill days and longer run pavement days. And then on days where we're running trails or beach or track, I'll run with these shoes, my zero shoes. That way you kind of get best of both worlds. And I, for me, being a 200 plus pound runner, running barefoot is just not fun. It just hurts, and I'm not a heel striker, it just rattles my teeth. So, all right. Training for SEALs, is it okay to take whey protein and creatine? Whey protein, sure. I mean, that's just food. Creatine, don't think you need it. I don't recommend it. And there's many reasons why a lot of people don't know how to use it properly, especially, I mean, in a lifting setting, it's hard to screw up. You're going to get bigger, you're going to get stronger, might even get faster. However, in a muscle stamina endurance setting, in a setting where you're really working hard for many hours and um, it's hot, you're a little bit dehydrated. I've just seen people on creatine just bonk early with bilateral cramping and abdominal cramps because they just couldn't stay hydrated enough. So the answer is you got to hydrate more, but my answer is stay away from it because I don't think it's useful. And you can't use it when you're in training, so you can't use any supplements. You can use food, you can't use supplements. Hey, Stu, do you know anything about transitioning from the fleet going to buds while in the big Navy? Sure. Got countless people doing it. And it depends on what you're trying to do. Are you trying to go officer Navy and, try to go to OCS? You still have to go through SOAS, the same process as everybody else. That adds to the process for sure. List from the big Navy, here's two problems. One, your rating has to let you go, right? So maybe it's overmanned or undermanned, or it can afford to let go of whatever job you're doing now because you got to get your community manager to say, okay, you can switch over to another community. That's the first hurdle. The second hurdle is year group. So whatever year you join the Navy, and this goes for veterans and other communities and other branches too. Whatever you join the military, that's your year group. So let's say you're 2021. The good news is 2021 was pretty much decimated after COVID and hard buds classes that almost nobody graduated. So they're probably a little bit undermanned. I'll have to double check. You can go to a website called My Navy. Here you go. Look at this. I'm just going to give you the whole link. Look at that. I found it. Popped up automatically because I go to it so much. Check out this link in here because there's a chart in there that gives you all the year groups and ranks and where they're overmanned or undermanned. And me just looking at it, you click the community summary link in there, and it's this PDF of just a whole bunch of stuff. And I can actually find, I'm not showing this right now, but in fact, maybe I will. Let me do that. Let me just share this with you because this gives you a lot of information. And it's unfortunately, it's not really easy to decipher. You guys see that? So, all through here, there's a lot of charts in here. You see all these year groups, 2023, right? That's right now. There's nobody in there. 22, nobody's gotten through training yet. 21, look at that. Undermanned. I was right. 2020, year 2020 is still undermanned. And then you can see you got some overmanning going on, or perfect, right? So these year groups right here tend to be overmanned. If you joined in 2018, look at that. You're probably not going to buds because that year group is stacked. So it says down here in the notes, currently SO rating is manned at 97%. And then shows you like the E1, E3s at 9%, the E4s at 67% undermanned, E5s at 99%. And then everybody else is, in that 90 and above, even over 100 on the E6. So, yeah, there's a lot of information there. You check that out. That is where I would recommend kind of understanding where you fit into the process and realize that there are some year groups that are going to have more hurdles than others, and rates. Like if your rate is undermanned, it also depends. So it is literally easier to go to buds from the street than from the fleet. That's just the way it is. Hey, Stu, love you, man. Sorry, take up your time like this, but we're having a weight loss competition. Some in our 40s, some in our 20s. Need some formula because of guys of slower metabolism. Well, you know what? I also read a recent study too that people's metabolism really they don't slow down that much as we originally thought. In fact, you can Google metabolism slowing down, aging athlete metabolism slowing down. I'm just putting in words into Google, see what comes up. Slowing down study. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, New York Times did an article on it, kind of broke it down for you, but basically, the title is "What We Think About Metabolism May Be Wrong." So new research shifts thinking on metabolism and aging. So check out this article. So your issue with aging athletes and trying to lose weight with a slower metabolism may not be exactly right, because it's really going to come down to two things. Like when you're in your 20s, you could probably just work out and lose weight and not really worry about what you're eating, even in your teens. In fact, if you don't eat enough, you'll probably lose weight in your teens. That's just the way it works. In your 30s and 40s, you'll start finding that you need to do both. And that's something I need to do too. I have to watch what I eat and work out like a freaking madman in order to lose the weight that I want to lose. And when I say madman, I'm just exaggerating. You need to be consistent. 5, 6 days a week, always doing something, adding walks here and there every day. I'll try to walk my dog, every day, or go for a walk every day on top of uh, my workouts. I go out in my carport, do a quick 6-minute lift just to burn some calories, see what happens, get on the bike, do it. So it's like these exercise snacks, I call them. So instead of snacking, I go hit like a 5-minute push up or something like that, or plank hold. Um, I find that to be the new formula for guys over 40. Um, you can't outwork your diet anymore. That's the magic phrase right there. Hey Stu, for the very best older SOF candidates you've worked with, what commonalities did they share in terms of prep, life experience, ability? What can older guys try to emulate from? Yeah, that's a really good question. We've had some guys come in here from mid 30s. One of my good buddies was a 38-year-old Buds graduate. So it does happen. One of our guys worked out with us for a while, was 33, went to Buds, crushed it first time, didn't get rolled, anything. The thing that helped them the most is they mastered their ability to recover, because your recovery at 35 is going to be a whole lot different than your recovery at 20. Not a whole lot different. I shouldn't say that. It will be different. It will be a little slower than the average 20-year-old, but it's still doable. So eating well, sleeping well, learning how to use a foam roller, massage tools, whatever you need to do to work those joints a little bit more. Some guys are, like do aqua jogging on the weekends just to loosen their hips. So many different things that you can do. So they master recovery. That's the key, because your optimal performance and your longevity is going to both depend on the mastery of recovery. So learn it now, even when you're young, master recovery, because you're going to need it 20 years from now, even more. As far as commonalities, they were just mature. It's not like a 18, 19-year-old kid who has 19, 18-year-old kid problems. You probably have families to deal with, different concerns. You got bigger bills to pay. So you just come at it with a whole mature outlook, and you can be a definitely great influence on a younger person, because I always tell people this all the time. I mean, like, this is not a boys' game. I mean, this is an adult's game. And it's not a game. So it's a poor choice of words again. When you show up there at 18 years old, you look around and you say, holy crap, everybody here's freaking 25 years old and older, got tattoos and jacked. It's a little intimidating. So you're kind of in good stead with that. Like, it tends to be a little less intimidating for the older person. But those life experiences can be very helpful as well, especially if you've had a previous career and you got other skills. I've seen guys that have multiple languages by then. They were paramedics, just all around, just tough dudes. We had one guy that was an English teacher too. So you have all types, but he was great, especially understanding a teenage mind, coming as a 30-year-old English teacher. He was able to really draw on his experiences dealing with teenagers, because that's what half the class is until after Hell Week. And then you got like 3 teenagers left. That's another reason why I tell people, don't be in a hurry to join at 18 years old. It doesn't go well for you, statistically speaking. And it's funny how many 18-year-olds laugh at me when I say that. And then I get an email from them and they say, I should have listened to you. I don't know if I got it in their head or something, but anyway, another story. Have you heard of any updates to the NSW pipeline? Rumor mill is that DiveMo is certainly coming back, along with more robust NSW prep programs. Any thought? Nope. Haven't heard anything of it. I'll be honest with you. You should be prepared for buds long before DiveMo and NSW prep get to you. That should be a kind of a taper going into it. You should be so well prepared. So, but that's my opinion. I think a lot of people who don't make it through buds rely on DiveMo and NSW prep to prep them for buds, and they get sadly disappointed by that process because a 6-week prep program is just, it's not enough. It's good to get you a little bit in shape after boot camp, sure, but your preparation starts a year before you even go to boot camp, at least. Let's see. Have a swim test coming up, 500-yard free or side, 15-minute tread, 800 fin with snorkel and 100-yard rescue tow. That's a good one. Can I get the swims done? I can get swims done, but I'm gassing after 50-yard freestyle. How can I change my breathing focus, what I should focus on? I think you just need to get in swimming shape. I would start working on those 50-50s. There's another one that I have that I use with the Air Force guys. I call it the Air Force 50-50. It is a good one. Man, it's a good one. It's got underwaters. It's got freestyle. It's got an easy freestyle, so you catch your breath while you're swimming freestyle. Check that out. I just put a link in there for you. That's a really good workout that will prepare you for all that. Then on leg days, you can mix in a fin workout, or if you want to put it all together into a single workout, just since that's the test, you could add in another 800-yard fin only with snorkel. So turtleback or something like that. We tend to only do finning on leg days, but there's no reason why, given your test, you should at least do a 500-yard warm up without fins and then put on your fins to swim, get that swim workout out of the way. And of course, maybe even cool down with a tread, or in between do a tread. It's up to you. Whatever order you're doing it in, I would just make that your workout. Swim without fins, tread without fins, swim with fins, buddy toe, easy day. Get in shape for it. If you're not swimming 5 days a week, you're probably not going to get in shape for it. That's just my opinion. Unless you double up and spend those 2 or 3 days of the week really killing it. How much air do you keep in your lungs throughout the CSS? Feel like my upper body is breaching too much. I don't really have a breathing rhythm that forces me to hold air. Like, I inhale and then I glide, and I'm starting to exhale already. So it's going, it's out. By the time I turn around and, by the time I kick and glide, I'm exhaling and ready to pull and turn and inhale. So it's almost like a running breathing rhythm. There's really no reason to hold unless you're kicking off probably the hardest breath hold in the CSS if you're doing pullouts off the wall. Also tried to find it, maybe overlooking it, but how do we send CSS videos to critique? You can send it to me at stu@stusmith. stu@stewsmith.com right here. See this email address, stu@stewsmith.com. Send a video, or you can DM me on Instagram. That is another way to get your videos to me, and I will critique them. How deep do you breathe when you swim? Same depth as when I run. Um, I mean, I try to get a full chest of air. I mean, I'm not like overinflating at all, just a natural big inhale when I turn to breathe. Exhale it all whenever I'm gliding. Turn to breathe, full inhale. Um, let's see. Is it more beneficial? Is it more beneficial to use a rucking backpack versus a weight vest, even if the same weight? You know what? It doesn't really matter at first. I mean, my recommendation is use a weight vest at first. I tend to use a weight vest more than I use a ruck, but I'm also not rucking for a living. Um, I like the weighted vest because it seems to balance a little better. Um, but it also gets you used to that weight, which is really the key. Um, but there is a different placement of the weight when you wear a ruck. It's going to be all on your back, basically, unless you're carrying somebody else's ruck on your chest, which that sucks. But at the same time, it also balances you out. So there's a give and take there. So it doesn't matter. I would say if you're going to be rucking professionally, then I would ruck more than I would weight vest. However, as you are progressing into rucking, wearing a weight vest is a very logical part of that progression. So let's see. I mentioned triathlons, but I have not done a Ironman. I was more sprint stuff, but I was also like coming out of a like powerlifting background, and long distance was just brutal. Um, so I tried to make 2/3 of my cardio non-impact, and I did it with triathlons. Have you run a 4 mile timed run? What was your time? Not at 54. I mean, I have run. I ran 4 miles on Monday, but I didn't time it. My fastest 4 mile timed run was when I was 20, I don't know, 22, I guess. I did a 4 mile timed run at Bud's at 26:30. I was never fast, but that was the fastest I ever hit it. I was usually around the 28, 29 minute zone. So let's see. What should workouts consist of after passing the PST with competitive times? Well, it should be like if you pass the PST, you have gotten 2 buds, right? Now you got to start preparing to get through buds, and that is different. But you have to maintain that PST because if you fail that PST at prep, you're done. So you can't just stop training for the PST. My advice would be to warm up with calisthenics and lift and get ready for logs and boats and those type of things. Rucking, get ready for swimming with fins. We do that on leg days, so 2 to 3 times a week we're swimming with fins. Um, and we're also running more. Instead of 1.5 miles, you got to get good at 4 mile timed runs. So yeah, there's a lot to do. You can't just do it in all in one cycle very effectively. You might need to do a higher mileage running, swimming with fins, and calisthenics cycle, and then do maybe a little bit shorter, faster run cycle mixed with weights. And that's really what my seasonal tactical fitness periodization is really all about, because we are right now in the winter lift cycle, right? Where we're lifting more, we're doing fewer reps, but heavier reps. And we are, running fast, but just not long. And we're still swimming with fins. However, next month, I can't wait. Spring's my favorite. We got the spring training. Spring training is coming up. Spring calisthenics and cardio. And we spend a good portion of the spring, about a 50-50 split of weights and calisthenics. So it's a nice little taper down from the weights, an increase of the running mileage, an increase of the repetitions of calisthenics. And we go into the summer where it's all calisthenics and cardio, very high mileage, very high reps, kind of burn it a little bit. And then we go into the fall and we kind of bring it back down. And the fall is basically a reverse training cycle of the spring, where we take down the mileage of the running and we take down the weights, or we start adding weights to take down the reps of the calisthenics. Next thing you know, we're in a winter lift cycle. Now we're lifting heavy, and it's a cycle. And it just, what that does, that periodization model, is just gets you good at strength and power, speed and agility, endurance and muscle stamina, mobility, flexibility, where there's also treading in there as well, and grip training and all of that stuff, which are all critical to your overall athletic ability when you're getting put into a training system that requires you to be good at all of those, not just the PST. That's why I came up with the system of the phases of tactical fitness. Like, phase one of tactical fitness is to prepare physically for that fitness test, specifically for that fitness test. So whatever that fitness test you have to take, you got to crush it, or you're not going to get accepted into the program. That's step one. Step two, you need to be able to get through the training and change that training to where you can actually now crush whatever's in front of you. Boot camp, selection, buds, whatever your journey is. Police academy, fire academy, all of that. It's all part of the tactical athlete journey. All right, so 51 minutes. May do a book giveaway with you guys still sticking around. Let me answer this last question, then I'll give you the details of the book giveaway. Morning, Stu. Ran your programs and trained with you guys last year. I'm in AIT now, and usually only have an hour or less to train at the end of the day. How can I program for this? When I was going through a busy training day, like a military training day, I would basically focus on things that I didn't do during the day. So very often, let's say we were doing advanced operator training. We called it AOT back then. We were scuba diving, we were running, we were doing all stuff. So we would just go into the weight room and do a lift, right? We would just do a split routine in the lift, maintain our strength, maybe do some calisthenics mixed in there. But, we were pretty much working out anyway with calisthenics and cardio, swimming a lot, even rucking. So we just added that lift in there. So my suggestion for you is, whatever you're not doing, add it to that end of the day and let that be your focus. That way you can really manage your strengths and weaknesses. Otherwise, if you're really not being that physical, my suggestion would be to, pick a cycle and go with it. Doesn't have to be crazy. One day can be a long swim, one day can be a run, one day can be a lift. Just mix it up. Have fun with it. Have a power day, have a strength day, have a calisthenics and cardio day. Mix it up a little bit. Or literally focus on whatever you suck at. Right? You suck at running, get good at running. Good question. Yeah, I just mentioned we're going to do a book giveaway. So here's how the book giveaway works. Okay. You guys have to send it to me when you guys see this book giveaway sign. Okay. When you see that pop up, right? That's going to pop up just like that. When you see that pop up, you have to say, send it to me. And the way we'll do this is, I'll do 2 today. Not sure which ones I'll give, but I'll give you an option of like the spring training coming up. You can do that. Nope. Matthew, you can't do it now. I did not say book giveaway, right? We'll do the Marine Corps, Recon MARSOC. We'll do Air Force PJ. We'll do Army Ranger, SF. And what else we got? I don't have all of my books available. I got two more. I got Army PFT workout, which is really the CFT workout. So all you Army guys out there, this is updated for the CFT. I just didn't update the title. And then I got any of you high school kids thinking about going to the service academy, any of the service academies, West Point, Naval Academy, Air Force Academy, I got the CFA workout. So we'll do spring training as an option, and we'll do my special ops workouts, my Army workout, and my service academy workout. So that's what we'll do. We got any other questions in here? Let me see what we got. Any other questions? So nobody? No questions? Well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do right now? Somebody's calling me. Let me fix that. Damn it. All right, so we did a book giveaway thing. Somebody already said, give it to me. All right, so we have a lot more than 2 people that did this. The good news is I got enough envelopes here for 3. So my top 3 that I see, and Matthew Perez, you did not get it because you were 2 minutes too early. So I said this right at 10 o'clock. And my first 3 are, looks like Perez got it because I added one. So we got one here, KRGG. Not sure what that means, but you get one. Bro Chacha, you get one. And look at there. I gave you a third one, Matthew Perez. You do get one. So, all right. So here's the deal. You need to email me, stu@stewsmith.com, and send your address. But before we do all that, let's figure out which books you 3 guys get. Yeah, Matthew, you actually got it because I added a third. Okay, so first person, KRGG, gets spring training. Okay, so let me just write a note on that. KRGG, spring training. Just make sure you tell me your KRGG. Somebody says I skipped them. Nope, you were not in my top 3, Alex. So my top 3 were KRGG, Bro Chacha, and Matthew Perez. Jay Lee was 4th. You were 5th. So don't whine. If you want a book, you can go to the store like everybody else. All right. Let's see. Who else? Ebooks. Yeah, ebooks are an option. I'm happy to send you the ebook if you want that. Just email me, though, so I can email it to you. How about you, Bro Chacha? Which one do you want? You got the Spec Ops. You got 3 Spec Ops options. I don't have my Navy one. I gave that away last week. You guys are like piranhas. It's pretty funny. I got Service Academy, Army. I do have a winter lift cycle if you want to lift. So that's a good one. Bro Chacha with some bro splits in there. Nah, I'm just kidding. I don't use bro splits. So spring training or Rangers. So yeah, Bro Chacha, you get the Rangers. But make sure you email me, stu@stewsmith.com with your address, name and address. Put your name on there because I don't want to put Bro Chacha in the address. And then there's a third one. Matthew, what did you want? What ebook you want? I'll open that to any of them. So pick an ebook from the store. I'll send it to you. I'm just getting rid of books because I don't sell them from my house anymore. The factory and printer service does it. So these are just books that um, get sent to me because I had to change address or they get lost. So they get sent back to me. So, yeah, there you go. So, anyway, there's an hour. That was fun. Matthew, just email me, stu@stewsmith.com. Let me know what ebook you want. Happy to, I'll just attach it to that ebook or to that email. Great questions today. I will be back tomorrow for a discussion, and we'll do something on um, combat swimmer stroke critiques. So if you got some combat swimmer stroke swimming that you want to look at, send it to me. Happy to do it. I think I do see one more question here. What's a good distance to run to practice the 5 mile? Should you train 5 miles? A little more, a little less? I mean, eventually you should build up to 5 miles and then run 5 miles. You don't have to do it every day. My suggestion would be, find out what pace you want to run that 5 mile at. I personally set it somewhere between 7 minute mile or 8 minute mile at the slowest, and start practicing your 1 miles at that and your 800s at that and your 400s at that if you have to build up. And then eventually you get 2.5 miles done at that pace and you just work it up. It may take a little bit of time. Yep. Sorry, Jay Lee. You weren't top three. Top three at 10 a.m. were already listed them. So let's see. So Garrett, we'll see you later. Thanks for your time. Your training helped me get to the top PT score in my company. Awesome. They picked me to test new expert badge tests. And hey, man, I'll always love to hear that. Great job. Thanks for serving. I feel like I'm always one away in these giveaways. I might have to just buy the book. Hey, you might have to, right? But good try, because I don't have all the books here. So I really only have I think 5 titles, maybe 6 titles total. So, but I got 40 titles over at stewsmithfitness.com. So check it out. Hey, Mikkel, before I sign off, how'd your running go with your boot camp training after not being able to run for a couple of weeks? Fill us in. I've been wondering how you were doing. If you can. I'll sign off whenever Mikkel answers, or if he doesn't answer in the next minute or two, I'll sign it off. Do you have any connections with Spec Ops training in Oahu, Hawaii? I mean, there's an SDV team there. I don't have any training groups out there, I don't think. Check out heroesoftomorrow.org. There may be a Hawaii training group out there, actually. You might be able to look them up. So, Mikkel, anything? I'm waiting for you. I have bad shin splint, sadly. Pushing through it. Been going well. Everything else, though. Being paid to train and shoot guns is awesome. Yes, that is a fun thing when you go to, every 2 weeks or the 1st and the 15th, and you look in your bank account and you look back at the last 2 weeks on what you've been doing, and you're like, holy crap. I've just been working out, shooting guns, scuba diving, jumping out of planes. It is good living. Good living. Well, I hope you get better, man. Nurse those things, and we'll keep up. Okay, I got one more question, then I got to go. Alex, spring to and through or spring periodization, what's the difference? I just wrote an article on that. I explained it all because I actually have 4 spring training programs. And check this out. It explains a little bit of difference on it. These are basically, check out this article, Alex, before you sign off. They're just a year of our training. So whenever I train people here locally before they go off to spec ops programs, I keep a track of everything that we do. And this was last year's winter lift cycle. We're also doing it this year because it was so good. I don't have my spring training program, but that was the year before spring training program that we did. So, and this spring training one that we're giving away, this spring training one is the one we did last year. So yeah, so we got all types. So, and we're probably going to do it again this year because it was that good. So, all right, man. I gotta go, Mickle. I hope you get better. Hang in there. Keep working on that bike. Massage those shins, and read some shin splint physical therapy articles. There's a lot out there, may be able to help you. So, all right, guys, this was fun. Thanks for listening. Thanks for participating. Great questions. You guys can email me other questions, stu@stewsmith.com. Happy to answer them. Also, I've written over 1,000 articles, so you can also ask Google and put my name in it, see if I've answered it. And if not, and you need it a little more specific for you, please send it my way. Happy to answer it fully. All right, folks, I'm done. Catch you later. Have a good one.